Moses Itauma has quickly become one of the most talked about young heavyweights in the world. At just 20 years old, he is already earning praise from boxing legends, analysts, and former champions who see him as more than just a rising prospect. Many believe he is a future world champion and perhaps even one of the brightest stars British boxing has ever produced. Tyson Fury, the reigning heavyweight champion, was among the first to speak openly about Itauma's talent. Fury highlighted how composed and focused Moses is inside the ring, pointing out his sharp punching power and remarkable discipline. According to Fury, Moses is like a sponge. He listens, learns quickly, and absorbs every piece of advice given to him. For someone so young, this combination of humility and hunger makes him extremely dangerous. Facing a fighter like Dillian Whyte at this stage in his career is a massive leap, but it also reflects Moses's belief in himself and his determination to test his limits. Dillian Whyte, of course, is no easy opponent. Despite having been out of the ring for some time, Whyte is a proven puncher, especially to the head and body. Those who have shared training camps with him say he is taking the upcoming fight very seriously. Still, many in the boxing community wonder whether Whyte has enough left in the tank to withstand the speed, hunger, and firepower that Moses brings to the ring. Some compare this potential matchup to when Martin Bakol shocked Jared Anderson, reminding fans that boxing is unpredictable, but the hype around Itauma continues to grow. What makes Moses different from other young prospects is not only his power and speed, but also his deep love for boxing history. His coach revealed that Moses, much like a young Mike Tyson, spends hours studying great fighters of the past. He doesn't just watch their fights, he studies their lives, their struggles, and their methods. At 2 in the morning, he's been known to text his trainers asking whether his sparring adjustments were correct. This obsession with constant learning separates him from the average 20-year-old athlete. It's no surprise then that many have already drawn comparisons between Moses and a young Mike Tyson. His compact power, aggressive style, and maturity inside the ring echo the same traits that made Tyson a teenage world champion. Some believe Moses could win a world title before turning 21, an achievement almost unheard of in modern boxing. Yet, there are doubters. Some analysts have questioned whether he's being rushed. Jared Anderson, for example, faced stronger opposition in his first dozen fights compared to Moses. Critics argue that while Moses has the tools, he hasn't been tested against elite competition yet. But supporters counter that his amateur background and natural maturity give him an edge, and that the only way to silence doubts is to take on these high-risk, high-reward fights. Even Alexander Usyk, one of the most skilled boxers of this generation, has expressed admiration for Moses. Usyk called him a great young fighter, praising his maturity and strength. Coming from someone of Usyk's caliber, that recognition is significant. It suggests that Moses already carries the poise and discipline of a much older, seasoned professional. Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora also weighed in, questioning why Dillian Whyte would risk taking on someone like Itauma right now. Chisora admitted he was offered the fight in Saudi Arabia but turned it down, explaining that Moses is simply too dangerous at the moment. According to Chisora, the young fighter is only moving forward, getting sharper, faster, and hungrier with each camp. When veteran heavyweights sound cautious, the threat is real. The upcoming fight between Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte has therefore divided the boxing world. On one side, you have believers who think Moses is already the best young heavyweight in the planet. On the other, skeptics who argue he's taking too big of a step too soon. For Whyte, this is a chance to revive his career and stop the hype train in its tracks. For Moses, it is the perfect test to prove he belongs at the elite level. Behind the scenes, stories of his discipline continue to impress. His coach shared that during freezing winter conditions, even at -5 degrees Celsius, Moses never skipped his brutal 1-kilometer hill runs. He even trained in borrowed shoes and work clothes when he didn't have the right gear. This kind of relentless work ethic, where no excuses are tolerated, is what separates champions from contenders. Analysts like Spencer Oliver believe that the Dillian Whyte fight will be Moses's biggest test yet. Oliver notes that Itauma has all the tools, but facing a powerful and experienced opponent will show just how complete he really is. Boxing is full of promising talents who never fulfill their potential, but Moses seems determined to break that cycle. Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas offered some balanced advice. Raw power alone isn't enough. For Moses to become not just a shooting star, but a lasting force, he must continue taking on tougher opposition, learning from every round, and developing into a complete fighter. Atlas stressed that greatness is not built overnight. It comes from consistency, patience, and the ability to rise through increasingly difficult challenges. Despite his youth, Moses shows a remarkable balance of confidence and humility. When asked about the possibility of facing Usyk someday, he admitted it would be a dream fight and an incredible opportunity, but he spoke with full respect for the Ukrainian champion. He doesn't shy away from big challenges, but he also doesn't underestimate his opponents. That rare mix of self-belief and grounded respect is a strong indicator of his mental maturity. Looking ahead, Moses has expressed his desire to face strong British opponents such as Solomon Dakers, David Adelea, Fraser Clark, and Johnny Fisher. He believes domestic rivalries will build his credibility and prepare him for the global stage. Trainers and managers alike agree that fights against veterans like Joseph Parker could soon become reality, giving Moses a chance to test himself against those who have already fought at the world level. In the end, the upcoming showdown with Dillian Whyte will reveal a lot. If Moses wins, and especially if he does so in convincing fashion, he will cement himself as not just a prospect, but a legitimate contender for world titles. If he struggles, it will be a valuable lesson on the road to greatness. Either way, his story is only beginning. Moses Itauma is just 20 years old, but his name is already echoing through the boxing world. With discipline, hunger, and an old-school respect for the sport, he has everything needed to carve out a legendary career. Whether he becomes a world champion in the next year or takes longer to reach the top, one thing is certain: boxing fans around the world are watching closely, because fighters like this don't come around often.